It's time for the Northwoods Cooking Show. Starring Uncle Roy and Miss Callie, the troublemaking dog. And here we are at the Minnesota State Fair. This is the entry for the honeybee competition. This is where I bring in my honey products. And the lady there was just checking me in. But there's a lot of things back there that people have been entering. You can see in the background there's lots of baked goods that people are bringing in. And a lot of canned goods too. And we'll see how everybody's doing. Oh, and look who showed up right at the closing time, but Marjorie Johnson herself. And she's got a lot of entries that she's bringing in this year for the honey competition. Hi, Marjorie. How are you doing?
Really good. I've really been busy making all this honey. And then you got to type up all those recipes for honey. Oh, my gosh, it's such a thing.
Isn't it? How long have you been doing this competition with the honey?
Well, I think I entered over there in Creative in 1974, so maybe soon after that, I think maybe 75, 76.
Of all the competitions, what would you say is the hardest to do as far as getting your work together?
Well, what I hate now, I see, because they limit me because I wrote that cookbook, I have to enter the special contests, and why they're hard is, you see, it's not only on skill. I like the other because it's only on skill.
Right.
But then you have to think of original recipe because the food company, that's why they have it. Well,
exactly.
It's hard to know what, and it takes so much time because you have to do it. You think of it, maybe it'll turn out the first time, but usually you have to tweak it, and get it right.
I know what you mean. I enter too, and I have to do like about 3 or 4 times before I know I get it right.
Right, yeah.
Well, thank you, Margie, for stopping and talking with us. I know you got a busy schedule, and you got more interviews to do today, so good luck to you, and thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
Allie, don't be chewing up the ribbons. No. That's competition. No, you don't want to chew up the ribbons. No. That's a purple one. That's a sweepstakes. No. That's a blue one. No, that's first place. No. Don't be chewing the good ones.
And here we are in front of the Minnesota Nursery and Landscape Association. They always have such beautiful gardens here every year. As you can see all these beautiful flowers they have. Just taking a look at everything. You can see all the coleus is there and all the yarrow. Oh, it's just so pretty. And then they got all these tall grasses in there. And then we got some workers up there putting in the finishing touches for the display. And this little gazebo is always busy with people stopping in and taking pictures. And this is in front of the Agriculture and Horticultural Building. This is where I have my honey display, my honey competition. And here we are in the midway with the back of the giant slide. You can see everything is getting busy around here. Everybody's setting up for the fair. All the vendors are getting ready, trying out their products. We even got somebody working there, getting their drinks together. And everybody's running around. Such a festive atmosphere where everybody's busy, getting preparing, setting things up. All the vendors are coming in, getting their foods together. That's rather a very festive time, and these streets are kind of empty right now, even though they are busy. But coming to the fair, you won't be able to see across the street. And this is the food court building. This is where they have just a ton of booths inside. And I remember when it was supposed to be remodeled just a few years ago, but before it was remodeled, there used to be a lot more people in there and they could afford the rent. Now the rent a space is quite expensive. So you got to make sure you have an excellent product before you can decide to sell something at the fair. Not just anyone's allowed in here. And here's in front of the agricultural and horticultural building. This is their nice little waterfall display of the beautiful flowers and the phlox and all the evergreens. Even some dinner plate hibiscus are growing. Such pretty flowers. And I myself just love the water. It's so pretty with the little waterfalls coming down. Roy, and this is my lovely assistant, Miss Callie Ellis. Callie Ellie, come here. Come here. You ain't nothing but a hound dog. You ain't nothing but a hound dog. Oh, I got a tweet. Come here. It's pretty. Say hello. 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 Oh, yeah. Punch. Callie and I are going to start making some food for you today, and we're going to be making a potato gnocchi. Now, I'm not positive that's how you pronounce it. I'm probably wrong. I'm tearing it to bits. But it's this little potato gnocchis are the pasta that you roll out. It's like a flour egg dough, and then you chop it into little 1-inch squares. And you can buy it frozen or freshly made, which is what I got. And it's basically like a stir fry, and it's very simple to do. First of all, I got like about a half a cup of parsley chopped up here. And then I need about 2 shallots. And if you want to use the greens, you can, but I like to chop those tips off if they're not green enough. If they're green, you can keep them, but sometimes the outside of these shallots, just like scallions, they get a little brown, and so you don't want to use that in your food. And I was going to take and throw those away. But what you do is just cut off that very tip of the root bulb. You don't want the root in there. And we're just going to slice these up rather thinly. These give a nice flavor than you can use regular onions if you want, but these have a little bit more pungent flavor to it. So it gives it a more oniony flavor, taste to it. So you can use little because it has such a stronger flavor. Then, this is a vegetarian dish. However, if you want to take and put in any meat, you can take and put in chicken if you want, or beef, depending on your preference. Chicken would be nice, and that's what you would probably do right now. Take and saute your chicken first. This recipe serves 4, so I would probably do like 2 chicken breasts at least. And like I said before, my other stir fries, you want them to be semi-frozen just a little bit because it makes it easier to slice it on the bias, like a 45-degree angle, really thin. When it's slightly frozen, it's so much easier to cut. But we're going to start out here with about 2 tablespoons of butter. We want to melt this down, and we want it to get slightly brown too. So we have it on a high heat. I heated up the pan first. I'm going to turn that down just a little to about a medium, because we don't want to burn it. We just want to brown it. Okay, we're also going to be needing about 3 medium zucchini. Now these are my roommates. He kept them in the refrigerator, plastic bag with a Ziploc tied twist around it so that no air could get into it. Well, look, they're all rotten. We're not using those. Now I got them in the same bag, but I left it open. They also have these bags at the grocery store that you can get too that breathe. Because you want to get that air in there, otherwise you're going to lose your produce. And so mine turned out really nice and dry. And what we're going to do with our zucchini, you need about 3 medium zucchinis. Cut off the ends, just a very thin sliver. And leave the stem on because that's going to be your cutting tool. So you don't want to cut your fingers off. And we're going to take the mandolin, and I just want thin slices. And zucchini slices are very fine, which is nice. It's easy to cut. So Callie, what kind of trouble are you going to get into today? Yeah, she's waiting for food to fall. Samples. Well, we were out at the State Fair yesterday as of the taping of the show. And you'll see in my future episodes, I was out there bringing in my competition, my entries for the honey competition, honey bake competition in the agricultural, horticultural building. This is my 3rd year doing that. I've done the others now for 10 years. And anyway, I took and I filmed some parts of it. Coming into the plates, what it looks like a little bit, some close-ups of the cupboards where they're going to display everything. It didn't look very neat yet because it's before judging, so once they get it judged, everything will be just picture perfect on the shelves. And anyway, so I'm there doing my thing, filling out my forms and stuff and bringing in my food. And I'm just getting ready to leave, and who should show up but Marjorie Johnson. And I asked Marjorie if she would like to take and do an interview with me for us. And of course, at first she said no because she was on a time schedule. She had to be at Channel 9 at 12:30. And I thought, oh, what a shame. And then I was filming some of the gardens there in front of the building, and her assistant came down and said, well, Marjorie can spare you a couple minutes if you don't mind. And I said, sure, I would love to. So I was able to get a little segment of interviewing Marjorie, and I joke about it with the guys and girls at work, well, not at work, at the studio. And I said, I should get the Edward R. Murrow Award in journalism for this one. And they go, what? And I said, I got an interview with Marjorie Johnson. Woo! You know, for being local and being from Marjorie here, you know, that's a feather in someone's hat, you know. She's such a local celebrity and national celebrity too. But it was just fun to do it. And then I was asked by the lady, one of the volunteers there, she was all interested in my leg and stuff, my broken foot. See, I'm still on the scooter, I still have it. But I got the cast off, I got a walking boot now, a boot cast. So it makes it a little easier getting around. I can't put weight on it though. But anyway, she was asking me about my broken foot and everything else and blah, blah, blah. And wanted to know how I even got time, how can I do all that baking and stuff. And I said, well, that was nothing. I said, I even did the regular baking and creative activities. You know, the 25 entries there and the canning, which is 20 entries there. She goes, how do you do that? And I go, well, it takes longer. Which it does. I can still do it. It just takes, oh, birdies, Callie. 11 o'clock. Birdies. And I said, it just takes longer to do it at all. And she goes, oh, you're such an inspiration. I'm like, well, thanks. You know, I just got to do what I got to do, you know. And then she mentioned how there's a walk, roll, and bike or something like that. Fundraiser for, what is it, people with cancer or something, some type of disease. I can't remember what it was. Anyway, she had asked me if I knew about it, and I said no, and it was through Park Nicolet, and I said, well, that's my clinic where I go to. And she goes, well, you're such an inspiration. She goes, you should take and enter it, and you know, to tell people your story about how being with a broken foot and everything else doesn't keep you from sitting still. And I said, well, I can't do that. I said, I'd go nuts if I had to sit still. I got things to do. You know, I got places to go, people to see, all that kind of stuff, you know. Anyway, this is our gnocchi. It comes in a packet like this. And you can get this at the dollar store. Very cheap. And it's pre-sealed and everything else, and the shelf life goes on forever. But this is what it is. You can get it in your dairy case too, the fresher, and in your regular grocery stores too. And what it is just these little pastas that are shaped kind of funny. Like little seashells. Anyway, it's potato flour is what it is. And we just put this into a boiling water, kind of break them apart so they're not all sticking together. And you just cook these until they start to float. When they float, then they're done. And we need a slotted spoon for that. Because those are going to go into our stir fry here once they start floating. Get the heat back onto that, get that butter back on. So anyway, she was saying about that I, could be an inspiration for people. And I said, well, I'd be fine. And I said, well, that's not the only thing is, with my broken leg. I said, there's other things too. I said, I'm a type 1 diabetic. I got osteoarthritis. I'm a skin cancer survivor. And I said, there's a long list of things that I've done. I said, but yeah, I don't get depressed over it. I said, you can't. I said, you get depressed and you get stuck in your home, and it's just like the worst thing to do. I said, I even had tickets for Metro Mobility. I didn't even use those because I was able to teach myself how to drive and get out on my own. Because I'm not going to feel sorry for myself just sticking around the house. That would drive me nuts. But if I have something to do around the house, then I don't mind it. You know what I'm saying? I just can't sit still and sit there, watch TV, and try to heal for 3 months. I would go absolutely insane. I have to do something. That's the way our family is. Always doing something, always on the go. Anyway, so we got our butter hot. We don't want to burn it, we just want to heat it up, and we wanted to get it slightly brown. And to this, we're going to be adding our shallots. Save the parsley towards the end. And we're going to stir fry those for a little bit. And in that, we're going to take and put a whole pint of our little cherry tomatoes. I got the grape tomato because I like a little smaller ones. I don't like to have too big a cherry tomato. And our zucchini. It smells good, Callie Alice. Ooh. Look at her, she's waiting for samples to fall and hit the floor. I know her, that's what she's doing. And this we're going to cook down until the tomatoes start to get a little soft. Just start to break down. You don't want to overcook them and get them mushy. Because you still want some firmness to them. And like I said before in stir frying the chicken last time, the secret in stir frying is not to overcook your vegetables and make them too soft and mushy. That's what a lot of people do. So I would put these ingredients in after your chicken was fried first, and your chicken is done when it's all white. After the raw part turns white, that's when it's done. Because it's still going to cook as you add your vegetables, so you don't want to overcook everything. This is coming along very nicely. And then to that, we're going to be adding, let's see, you want to add a little pepper to that. And that's just pepper to taste. You don't have to measure it. I probably put in like about, quarter teaspoon. And you want a little nutmeg. If you have the fresh grated nutmeg, that's even better. So you only want a titch of this in. Like about 1/8 of a teaspoon. So you don't want an overpowering flavor to that. You can always make things worse by putting in too much. You can always add more when it's all done to your individual plate if you want to. But once you put your spices in, you can't take them back out. So it's always best to do it a little at a time and work your way up to it. Oh, turn down the gnocchis. Ah, and they're starting to float. This is looking good, Callie. And then we'll take and just spoon our gnocchis right in to our stir fry here. So this here is the vegetarian style, like I was saying before, so it's really healthy for you. And like I said, you can put meat into you want. You can do your chicken if you want to. That would be a great additive to it. You could do beef or pork, any type of meat you want to. But just remember that when you're stir frying, always do your meats first. Unless you're doing fish, like shrimp. That would be really good in this too. But seafood you want to put in last because it cooks so fast, or fish or whatever. Because your seafood cooks very quickly. It only takes like about 3 minutes. So you always want to put your seafood in last. Because overcooked seafood will get rubbery. Okay, Callie, now we mix this up. Can Uncle Roy do his fancy flippins? We'll see. Ooh. There we go, I didn't spill either. And while that's heating up, we put in the parsley. And that's about a half a cup of parsley or a quarter cup. You know, you can adjust these recipes to your own flavor and taste. Too much, too little, but you know, if you like it or not. I got about, I'd say about a third of a cup of parsley in there. I don't like too much parsley. And then we need about quarter to a half cup of ground Parmesan cheese. And again, it's all your personal preference. I'm going to do like about a third. Oh, Callie, this is really colorful. It smells good. And these tomatoes are starting to break up, so you know it's done. Oh, it spilled there. Hot. Turn that off, and we'll plate her up. And this is our fresh gnocchi. Callie, don't that look good? I think this is a nice vegetarian style type dish. And I just sprinkled a little more Parmesan on top, with a little sprig of parsley on the side, and there's your lunch. That ever look good, don't it, Callie? Oh, look at her. She's waiting for samples, aren't you, Callie? Callie Ellie. Oh, Callie Ellie. Wasn't that filling? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, we had enough of that. I ate 2 portions. Oh, almost dropped a tomato. And then I'm going to take the leftovers here and bring it to the girls at the studio. They always like my extras. Oh, tomato won't go in. Yeah. Hello, gnocchi. Yeah, Sika, sit pretty. Come here, get over here, sit pretty. Sit pretty. Well, you don't have to go all the way around. Oh, yeah, look at her now. Oh, yeah. See, like that. So, Callie, let's see who wrote us this week. And if you, the viewer, would like to ask Callie any questions, feel free to write us at the Northwoods Cooking Show at yahoo.com, and we'll try to answer your questions if we can, as best as we possibly can. Anything to do with cooking tips or gardening, etc., will be more than, and canning too, because I got canning episodes coming up too. Let's see who wrote us, Callie. She gets a treat when we answer the mail. Oh! Oh, cookie. Quick. Dear Uncle Roy and Miss Callie, I was wondering if you can take and substitute honey for sugar in any of your recipes. I wanted to do some more natural flavors using honey rather than processed sugar. Is it easy or hard to substitute? Thanks, Tammy from Burnsville, Minnesota. Glasses, where are my glasses, Callie? Well, Tammy, yeah. You can substitute honey for sugar, but you gotta be careful. Honey is so much more sweeter than sugar, so you need less of it. It's 3/4 cup of honey equals 1 cup of sugar. So just adjust your recipes accordingly. Also, when you're making your product, whether it be like cakes or cookies, when you beat the shortening at first, add your honey in a slow, thin stream to your butter or shortening, and let that whip around really good at a high speed. That makes like honey butter. And that's going to incorporate the honey in with the butter, and it won't separate on you. If you pour it in later, it's kind of hard to get that butter and honey mixed together in with the other ingredients, and it kind of separates, and then your product's kind of like spread out like you do when you use all butter in cookies without chilling the dough, and your cookies spread out in the cookie sheets in the oven. Same way if you don't get that honey mixed in with your fat first. You want to mix that in really good. So whether you use butter or shortening, a slow steady stream and a high speed to get that incorporated works out great. I know I just did my honey competition this year for the state fair for my 3rd year, and things turned out pretty good. Not the best, but better than in previous years, because I'm still getting used to working with honey also. So I hope that answers your questions, Tammy, and feel free, anybody, to write us at the Northwoods Cooking Show at yahoo.com. Callie and I would love to hear from you with any of your questions, and we can put them on the air too. So for Miss Callie and myself, we want to say healthy eating, be safe, and spread the sunshine. Say goodbye, Callie.